Merry Christmas, everyone!
Look, I understand that I hope we're live right now.
I wasn't laughing at you.
No, I get it. I understand that we have a hard time coordinating outfits with Mark usually. I get it. But we did pretty good tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Like, for no coordination, like, I'm wearing my 5-year-old's hat. The thing like, barely fits. Look like an elf.
Looks great on.
It does.
Yeah. You look like somebody we all know.
We all have that uncle.
Yeah.
You look like the 40-year-old virgin before he got, his chest waxed.
Right.
Yeah.
But waiting for that.
Thanks.
But in all seriousness, this is good. Christmas special, CanCast podcast.
Yeah.
This is
I'm excited.
episode 7 already, so we appreciate everybody for tuning in, all the support. Of course, I'm Kyle Crowley's your host, along with my co-hosts, Shawn Mccaul and Mark Hunter. And guys, we've had a pretty crazy 2022.
Yeah, we have.
Like what? Like there was like a pause there. Like no.
Yeah. 2022's been pretty crazy.
Well, I don't think the crazy is
2023
done
for me
yet.
is going to be a little bit crazier.
Why? What's going on?
I'm having a baby.
No way.
And it's
Yeah.
not mine.
Yeah, don't tell anybody though.
Wait, how long are we keeping this a secret?
Don't tell anybody.
How long are we keeping it a secret for?
I don't know. My woman hasn't told anybody yet. So.
Oh, no.
This
So
is
don't
going to
tell
be
anybody.
live in like probably 2 days from now.
So everybody at home, don't tell anybody.
It's a top secret.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Nobody congratulate Shawn on Instagram later.
Yeah. I'm going to be an uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dude. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Congrats.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. But anyways, big thanks again for YOLO Tech for stepping up and sponsoring us the last 7 episodes. You guys have been awesome. Check them out. YOLOTech.ca has everything in stock. We got dealer stock in it, Raider World, Peterborough Pro Tackle, East Hill now. I'm missing some guys. I'm sorry. Gagnon Sports is going to be carrying it out in Oshawa. There's lots of stuff happening with YOLO Tech, so I appreciate everybody that stepped up and supported us. And we got some special guests on tonight.
Hey, do they make a mount for a birthing chair? Because that would be really cool, eh? Have that memory?
I don't think so.
All you need here is a juice box, and her battery won't die.
I don't know if they'll allow
That has pay-per-view written all over it.
Yeah. Well, we got some special guests tonight. We have good friends of ours. We got Mike Williams and Mike Juanel.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Awesome.
Good.
Thanks for joining us. And Mike, we didn't even cancel on you this
That's
time.
all good.
Right?
Like third time's the charm.
No,
We just had to get the other Mike available,
Yeah,
right? He
that's
kept
it.
canceling, and then, okay, better call Mike.
yeah, it's the goat's fault. So,
Finally, we got our game together.
You need the GOAT
So you-
greatest of all time.
first off, impressive. I like the hats. I like the lights. You guys came all out for the Christmas special.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, we did.
Got to get in the Christmas spirit.
For sure. So when we were talking about who do we want to have on our Christmas special, that's it. You guys hit it nail on the head.
We were
doing
top
it.
of the list. That's awesome.
You were top of the list.
Nobody else could make it.
Yeah. But seriously, let's tell everybody who don't know you guys. So we'll start with you, Mike Williams. Tell us a little bit where you're from, your business, and kind of how you're involved in fishing.
Well, I'm Mike Williams, Curve Lake First Nation, and I own Williams Outfitters. Been operating since 1995, doing fishing charters in the Kawartha Lakes area of Ontario.
Mike Quinnell. I live in Omimi. I operate Goat Angling Adventures. I've only been in business with that operation for a couple of years. It's going good. Looking forward to growing it. And it's been a blast so far.
All right. Well, I'm going to get right to the point because this is what we all want to know. Shawn, who is the better guide?
Put him on the spot. Put him on the spot.
All right. We won't make you answer that. But serious. So you guys make most of your living guiding fishing charters.
Yeah.
Do you like the word charter? Is that the proper word?
Yeah.
Guided trip. What do you
tours,
prefer?
Trips.
Okay. So
guided trip, fishing charters, whatever.
So when do you guys start? You start like right when ice is out for like crappie and stuff and go right to the end of the season, or what do you guys focus on?
Yeah, pretty much. Lately, with the crappie being so big in the area, we start early, or I do anyways. Not speaking for Mike here, but we go right till ice out, ice in, and we offer full day, half day guided fishing tours in the Kawartha Lakes region, and we also expand a little bit, but it gets a little pricey with gas costs and stuff to get out in other areas.
So do you pick the lake, Mike, or is it the client that picks the lake?
It depends, right? Like sometimes the clients are up in the area, they're on Sturgeon Lake renting a cottage, or they're in Balsam, or they're wherever, right? So we kind of cater to the clientele, what they want. We try to put together a fishing package that best suits their needs and will give them the best experience that they can have.
So Mike, from GOAT, let's go back up here. The GOAT Angling Adventures, does that mean you're the greatest of all time? Is that what GOAT stands for?
I've taken a lot of flack over the name, believe me.
Where's the name GOAT come from?
Well, everyone knows GOAT stands for greatest of all time. But basically, my goal was to make sure that everybody's fishing adventure was the greatest of all time.
Oh, that's good.
So
good cover.
That's where the name originated, and the fact that I've had a goatee for years, and I don't know, I've been around doing this for a long time. As far as on the tournament trail, my wife kind of came up with the name, and we came up with. I did a little hand drawing of my logo, and here we are.
It looks good, and I have to say, it was probably one of the best looking booths at the CanCast show last year.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I have to thank my my niece-in-law for putting in all the hard work over at ATD.
You're going to bring that booth again this year?
Oh, yeah. I'll have her there.
That's like
ATD's awesome, by the way. And yeah, like you said, they do a great job. If you're looking for a wrap of any kind, go out and see them out there in Lindsay. They're awesome.
There we go.
Auto trim, detail.
Tin boat.
Right.
Tin boat. Okay, so let's talk about getting back to being a guide. So personally, I always had like this weird thing in my head where it's like, I would love to be a guide. I could take people turkey hunting, dude. And then I'm like, no, that would just ruin it for me. Like, ruin the sport for me. Like, do you ever feel like there's days, like, do you ever have like difficult people that just like completely ruin the whole thing for you? Or has it become like a job now? Like, let me rephrase that. How do you not let a job wreck the passion?
Right.
Well, it's funny. Mike and I were talking about this on our way down here tonight. We rode in together, and you know, you do, like any other job, you do end up having some clients that, let's say, are difficult, but they're far and few between. Most everybody that comes out wants to have a good time, and for me in particular, I like to try and concentrate on the education part as well as the entertainment. So. Yeah. My main job is to make sure everybody catches a fish for sure. But if I can teach them something that they didn't know before they came out with me, I think that's a better value for my customer rather than just going out and catching a fish. I joke around with a lot of them that, you know, if you want to just go out reeling, you can go out on a salmon charter, and the salmon charter guys are going to kill me for that. But
dish it out. Let's hear it. Come on. Yeah.
But to me, you know, if you want to go out with a group of 9 people and sit there and have a couple of drinks and reel in a fish, that's what a salmon charter's for. What Mike and I do is, you know, right down to the basics. It's rod in hand, casting, and we're out there to teach you so that when you do get out there on your own, you've learned something, and hopefully, you know, you can teach your kids a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, it's funny because I've talked to some other guides too, like, you know, throughout Ontario, and even when I'm like going down south and stuff. And the number one thing they find is they have people that come back over and over and over who own their own boats, who have it, but they just want to come back for the educational part, right? So it's definitely depends. Everybody does it for their own reason.
Well, I've had a chance to go out with some guides down in the States, because every time I go to a new lake down there, I always get a guide, right? Always go out, want to learn the body of water, you know, talk to the guys about how to fish certain stuff there, where the fish are setting up that time of year. The guides are the guys that know, right?
Yeah.
And I've been out with some amazing guides. They'll talk your ear off all day, and they're willing to give you all the information in the world. And then I've been out with some guides. They don't say a word to you all day. They just stand in the front of the boat, and they just fish. And you're just like...
Do you guys fish while you're out there?
Oh, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah. So getting back to the where you draw the line with the passion and everything else that Kyle mentioned, it's... to me, it's a challenge every day. You wake up in the morning, you don't know who you're going to get, right? It could be a kid with some skills. It could be first-timers and whatnot. But Yeah, every day's a new beginning. It's a new book, and you got to go out there and write it, right? So it's that's the excitement for me and what keeps me coming back to guiding. You do have to separate it a little bit from your own ideas of what you want to do to accommodate your charters and your guides, and try to best accommodate what they're bringing to the table and what you can offer them, right? So you want to put them on fish, obviously, but at the same time, you have to cater to their skill level and put them on fish. And like Mike said, we want to offer the best experience. And like Shawn said, some guys, I'm pretty open. Like, I'll give you every secret. And if you're not out there on the water and you're not learning every day, you're probably not advancing your angling skills. And I've learned a lot off my clients over the years, which has helped me in tournament fishing and also in future guide trips. So it's been, you try to educate yourself every time you're out there.
I'm sure there's been times where you've used your guide day as a practice for a tournament even.
Yeah, there's been a few of those.
Yeah. So,
Why not?
All right. So speaking of that, like, did it hinder? I know you said like time on the water and maybe using it as a practice day, but did it ever like hinder your tournament? Like, because you guys are both heavily involved. Do you still fish tournaments?
Yeah.
And you just got back from Lake Hartwell. Like, we know you do the whole thing still. You ever find it like hurt it any which way? Like where you really wish you were practicing over here, but you're guiding over here? Like, where do you draw the line?
A little bit, but more so as you're kind of burnt out.
Well, that's what I mean.
Sometimes it burns you out. People don't realize what fishing takes out of you.
Oh yeah.
You call it a sport. It's totally a sport. It drains you some days. You go out there and you get off the water and you have to reset your gear to go on to the next lake, and you're doing something different here, or you're fishing a upcoming tournament, like you say, and it's tough to reset and get the rest you need to go out and attack the next day. And especially when you got a tournament coming up, you might be on the water. Like I've been, like through COVID, I was on the water 5-6 days a week, and my tournament results kind of reflected that. Like I didn't do as great in some of those areas where, a lot of guys say time on the water really helps. It does, but you do need a break and to reset and refocus on what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think people laugh when they hear the term athlete associated with a tournament fisherman. But really and truly, what you're saying is right. I mean, there is a lot.
We don't have athlete bodies.
Well, we don't
anymore.
You got mines though.
Yeah,
They call it sport fishing for a reason, and we're athletes.
Yeah. I'm good at falling down now.
We're gonna do the Angler Olympics.
But yeah, I mean, it does take a lot out of you. Early mornings, multiple mornings in a row, plus the added pressure of trying to keep your clients on fish and keeping
That's huge.
Keeping a good handle on the lake.
And the weather probably plays such a part, not only in the fishing, but like the physical aspect for you and your clients, whether it's the heat, rain, wind. Like there's days where you're like 11 a.m. You're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done standing in the rain. I'm cool. And your clients, some of those guys aren't used to doing that, right? Like, is there many days where you had to call it early because of weather?
Well, there's some days clients show up in the shorts and t-shirt, and you're like, dude, we're on the water. Well, when I left Oshawa or Toronto, everything was great, and I felt comfortable. Now I'm freezing my butt off,
So you must keep some stuff in the boat.
Yeah. Kind of.
So you try to, but I mean, there are some days I had a few this year where it was just torrential rainfall, and even though the client showed up with rain gear, it wasn't adequate.
Yeah.
To keep them dry.
Not what we wear.
Exactly. So it's a bummer for us because, we've gotten up at 4:00 that morning, hooked up the boat, and we showed up at the lake and met the client there. And then
you're already working for 2 hours before you can see them.
And it's for nothing. But you know what? Most of those clients, we rebook for them and we find another day if we have a day open, and we get them out on the water and, show them a good time. So you got to take the good with the bad, just like any other job. But Well, I see Kyle just
Yeah,
reached
like,
for some cookies.
speaking
here.
of good time, Mark, what are these? You brought these. What are
Yeah, you know what? You know how Joan loves to do her bacon, and she's put together a little
like, would it be rude?
munch craft for us here.
Would it be rude if we ate these on the air?
No, I'm
Look
sure
how
Joan
good,
would
look
love
how
it.
good these look. I don't
Okay,
even
guys,
think I'm.
so how do you,
Whoa, time out. Well,
Okay,
we're not done.
we're not done. We're not done with the cookies.
We're not done with the cookies here.
We're not done.
Can I have a cookie?
I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
can.
this. It says to Kyle on it,
Which one?
and I think I'm gonna take them home.
All of them?
All right. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Mark. I wasn't done with the cookies.
Okay. All right.
You want one of your wife's
It
cookies?
looks like you.
I'm taking the deer. It doesn't look like
You guys want
does
a
look
cookie?
like you.
Dig in.
Looks just like you.
Is that a fish?
it's a deer.
No, it's a deer. Well, that's the only deer Mark's gonna eat this year. So.
Yeah, I know.
All right, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Okay, guys. So, do you know like the skill level or lack of skill level of the people before they get in the boat, or is it just something that that you address as soon as they jump on the boat?
Sometimes, but sometimes they lie to you.
Yeah, they lie to you.
Yeah, well, not inadvertently, right? They're like, "Oh yeah, we've caught fish, but you."
I can use a bait caster.
Yeah, they get out there
No.
and it's totally
best
full.
one.
So you know a little bit about them, but like until you get them out there and actually see it, and to fish a specific way for a specific species may be a little bit different than what they're used to, right?
So, what are you throwing into their hands first?
A lot of the times for the beginners is something simple like a Senko or a tube, or
yeah.
So speaking of gear, like, are you providing? Are they using your rods and reels and tackle most of the time, or
Yeah,
are some
always.
guys showing up with their own? Or would you prefer them to use your guys' stuff because it's set up for what you're fishing? I assume.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, both Mike and I have gear that we supply for our clients. Not every client is an avid fisherman. Lots of times it's their first time, so they don't have gear. And on the flip side, there are some like diehard guys that come out for muskie tours that bring their own stuff, and I'm basically just along for the ride, showing them where to go. So you get it on both ends of the spectrum, but definitely for the most part, we're supplying the gear for them to.
Okay, the client sits on that rod and breaks it. Who do you eat that cost, or do they?
Most of the time we eat it. Sometimes you get the odd client that'll throw a rod over the boat and say, "Oh, I'll pay for that," and they'll come clean on it. But
Yeah.
What do you mean throw a rod? Like on purpose? Like
accidentally
Yeah.
cast it, or
Yeah.
I've lost a cell phone over the side of the boat diving for one of my rods too before. So that it's not all peaches and cream out there some days. So you have some experiences where.
So speaking of that, experiences, give us your best guide story if you can think of it, and give us your worst story. You don't have to say any names, but just one that sticks out in your mind, like this was a great day, and one where you're like, okay, this was awful.
I know for me, I've been in it since '95, like you said, and there's so many great experiences. Like the great experiences outweigh the bad by far.
100%.
100%. But like when you can show a client or catch a client their personal best or their first fish ever, stuff like that really sticks out in your mind. And those are the guys, like you say, come back. They come back every year. Like I've been at it for 25 years, and they keep coming back. Like you'll have the same clients, whether they get a boat and you're taking them out in their boat or whatever, they keep coming back. So those are the experiences that I like to think about.
You're helping them create a memory.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. And I mean, memories last forever. We all know when you're fishing a tournament and you win some money and you get a trophy or a medallion, the money's gone by Monday. It's probably already gone before you cash the check.
This is good.
But when I sit at home and I look up at my wall at all my trophies and medals, I get to relive that every time. The money's gone, but the memory is still there on the shelf.
It's all about the wood, bud.
Yeah, it is.
So I want
for
to
the wood.
take this spot right there, and I want to switch off the guiding thing for a second because you said something about the memories, the win. It lasts forever. The money's okay. So this reminds me of a thread that's on Facebook right now about the new Bait Fuel tournament series. Have you guys had a chance to check that thread out?
Yes.
A little bit.
So long story short, they're putting in 100% of the winnings. There's big winnings, big prizes. and everyone who fishes their classic is going to get a chance to win the boat. There's a lot of arguing going on about the guy who wins. Some people think the guys that win the classic should win the boat, and other people like the fact that, hey, the boat's a bonus. You're already getting a huge payout. It's just be happy to get a chance to win it. And there's other guys that are saying what you're saying, like, the boat and money is one thing, but like everyone will remember who won the classic 3 years ago, but no one remembers who wins the boat. Like, what, do you think that's true? Like, as tournament anglers, like, what would you want to see?
Second place is first losers. Nobody remembers them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've been in that spot so many times, and when you win a tournament, that's your title. And like 2 classics, those are my titles, and a couple of other tournament wins. But like, I finished second a million times, and to me as an angler, consistency is the key. You want to always be around, giving yourself a chance to win. But if you don't win, nobody remembers you.
No.
So do you think you should win the boat if you won their classic, or do you think if you made the classic, you should get a chance to turn a key?
I think the money's there, so yeah, turn a key for the guys that are. It feeds into how many guys you want into participating in your series.
I agree.
And like you say, we've got the ECBAT tournaments going on here, and we're struggling to get guys to come out. But this year,
I think
there's
that's
a lot
going to
of
change.
There's a lot of guys.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that series.
So the Elite Canadian Bass Anglers Tour was something that we've dreamed up, and we've talked a lot with Shawn and Mark and actually Woody and a couple other guys about how we promote that and how we get it out there and this and that. We started with 2-day series. Gary has cut back this year to 1-day series. But like, I mean, fishing in Ontario is a difficult thing to get participants in. The clubbies have come in, and it's kind of watered down the top end of the scale. So you've got your guys that are fishing clubbies. You've got your guys that are doing the 1-day cost efficient route, and there's not a lot of guys that want to fish the 2-day big money series anymore. So it's all about how do we get that back into our sport up here, because as a tournament angler since 95, 96, that's what draws me. If I'm spending time away from my family now in this and that, and the amount of time you have to spend on the water to figure fish out, to have a chance to win these tournaments, it's a lot of time. So to me, it's not worth putting in $225 for a 1-day shot at winning for maybe $3-4 grand. To me, the time with the family and making memories that way is a lot better. But if there was more money in it, like you say, the bait fuel series has some good payouts. So that's what we were trying to target with the ECBAT tour, was trying to target those top and middle to top end anglers that wanted to go out and fish for some big money. And
the
also,
money was there. They had great payouts.
Yeah, and we've got great payouts again this year, and we've got our sign-ups and registrations out there now, so guys can go to elitecanadianbassanglers.ca and check our series out, check the payouts out. We have a classic this year. We've got Team of the Year for $7,000 if you fish all 7 events, or any event that you fish goes towards the Team of the Year prize. 5 events to qualify for the classic, and $10,000 classic. So
That's
there's big
pretty
money
awesome.
out there, $330 to $400 for the tournaments. And like I say, to me, that gets me excited. Same with the bait fuel. Like, that kind of stuff gets me excited as an angler that's been in it for a long time. I've won Angler of the Year, Team of the Years in different series, from the $225 entries to the $300 or whatnot. But to me, money's where it's at. If you're going to spend time away from your family and put the time in to be an elite angler, then that's where you want to be. As I'm getting on,
Right.
Like, I'm not a coop that I can go down and fish the elites and in the opens and
Sleep in our truck.
Yeah, sleep in our truck and eat macaroni and whatnot. Power to him. He's a great angler, but we're getting up there. We kink up, and we wouldn't be able to fish the next day if we did that.
Someone would be
Right.
hauling me out of the back of my truck, putting me in my boat.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, to bring a series like that to Ontario was our dream, and other people are following suit. and other people are dropping sponsorship dollars now that didn't before, So
What lakes are you guys hitting? That series?
we're hitting most of the Kawartha Lakes. We're hitting Simcoe opening weekend.
Ooh.
It's a one-day tournament. We're hitting Mighty Mucks opening here, which is Tri-Lakes, and that's always been a staple. So Gary switched the Mighty Mucks tournament over to an ECBAT tournament as a qualifier, and we've dropped the Mighty Mucks name, which is
Are you getting flack for that?
a little bit, but
It's still the same tournament,
it's
right?
still the same tournament.
Tradition.
It's a little bit more of an entry fee, but not a lot. It hasn't jumped to the $500-$600 level. I think it's $335 to fish that, and that's all in with your big fish and everything else.
And that's still on opening day, right?
Yeah, and now we've got the contingencies in with all of that too. So, like Chris and Lynn won it last year, and they got a huge payout for paying $225. So somebody's going to get that chance this year for $335 to win $17,000 to $20,000 Canadian.
I feel like that's pretty reasonable entry fee to
Oh my
win
gosh,
that.
yeah.
Like, where else can
100%.
you do? Like, you can't even go and gamble at the casino with odds on like that. You really can't.
No, and at the same time, fishermen got to realize you're gambling on yourself
Yep.
and on
Yeah.
your ability to go out there and catch them. And that's what I think's lacking in Canadian fishing is people want to stick to their home lakes. They want to do what they want to do and in their comfort zone, and they don't want to stretch outside that. That's why we wanted to bring in some of the other lakes around the area and get guys out of their comfort zone and hopefully draw big fields and get in that. So we're doing Simcoe, Quinte, Balsam, Sturgeon, Tri-Lakes a couple. Yeah, we're going all over. We're trying to hit them all.
That's awesome. No, I mean, we've talked about so many series in the past episodes, and I'll take full responsibility. We need to touch on that one, and that's phenomenal what you guys are doing.
And a big shout out for not putting the classic on the same day as everybody else's classic on the same day.
Hey, that's it. Like,
Jesus.
I fished both those series.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like the less you can bump heads with those guys, and they're already established, right? So the less you can bump heads with them and offer something different to the other people where they can fish some of their events, they might fish some of our events and maybe qualify for both classics. That's
Well,
what-
see, I got a bone to pick with those guys. They want the sport to grow here in Ontario. Now, we got some big things going on. I think it's Team Canada's supposed to be going down to the States, and they went and put their classics on the same weekend as that trip. So there's guys that can't go.
See, that's
now they've got to decide whether they can go
And
down and
that's-
represent the country.
And that's tough because as a tournament promoter, I
Right.
understand that there's only so many dates in that. But at the same time, do we have to get as an industry on a united front to support that Team Canada deal if we want to get that sport to the next level? You know,
I
you've done
think
those
so.
events. And then I think there's another qualifier that comes to Cornwall, right? As well this year. Am I right on that?
I don't know.
So anyways, okay, scratch that. But I think you're right, Shawn. Like that's no disrespect to any of the tournament directors or anything like that. I get it. There's only
You
so
look
many
at the World Championships that just happened last month or the month before now, and there was 25 countries.
Yeah.
It's not a small derby.
We want to send the best of our best too. We don't want a guy to choose between a classic and a whatnot.
Well, the thing is, they're not going to be at your regular series events because they know they're not going to be able to go to the classic. So you're just biting your own foot, really. You're eliminating so many anglers having to make them choose one series or another.
Yeah,
So-
and that
Just doesn't make sense to
That's
me.
the point, right, Mark? There's only so many weeks in the year, and these guys run it as a business. And I understand that. But at the same time, if you're trying to grow the sport, you want to put the best foot forward and try to work together to get anglers on the same page and try to fish as many events as they can, So,
Right.
Yeah, and it was no different even in the guiding business. The first thing I did before I even opened up goat angling, I went over to his house and paid him a visit. And we sat down and I said, hey, listen, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I respect Mike. I've respected him for a long time. And I went over to his house and talked to him face to face. Said, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I want to start a guiding business.
Do you have an
Basically-
issue with it? No.
Yeah, basically, I was just looking for his blessing almost. It's like going to see The Godfather.
Well,
But, that was the right thing to do in my mind.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
I wasn't there to poach customers or,
Right.
grab his Instagram followers or anything like that.
It shows you the class, like, in
100%.
respect, right? And I think that's where we got to get back to
So-
the tournament series.
Yeah.
And the guys that are running these, they've got to have a mutual respect. And I probably know that won't happen, knowing the pair of them, but
the
like at the
players
same
involved.
time, yeah. But at the same time, I think we got to get to that, and we have a good relationship, really good relationship with both of them, which is what we want as the Elite Canadian Bass Anglers Tour, is to have a good relationship and a working relationship with them, and try to do what's best for each of us.
Right.
Yeah. No, and we got to find the way to them. We touched on this many episodes. And look, I'm first one to say it. I'm not a hardcore tournament angler. I've done, the clubby thing. I do the kayak deal. I fished a couple events, of co-angler stuff. So I'm not sitting here like I haven't fished either series. I shouldn't say either series because there's more than 2 series now. We got to remember that. There's multiple ones. But I think we've talked about it before, 3 of us. We always forget, how do we get the next group of anglers in? So you guys are just talking here about, hey, we can't sleep in the trucks anymore because we're getting kicked. Dude, I'm in my 30s. I can't sleep in my truck barely. Like, my back's so messed up. But how do we make it affordable and enticing to get that next group, like those 18-year-old kids? Hey, man, you want to be partners? You want to take on that series this year? How do we get to that level where they can justify doing it and still pay their bills at home or get, you know what I mean? Like, how do we get that next crop up to the competitive level, not the clubby? Like, what is the magic potion?
I think, like, we were talking before we went on air here with the whole high school thing. It's becoming a thing here in Ontario, which is great. Like, I've taken out Darren Driver, Double D, back in the day. He'd never fished a tournament. He was excited about fishing, took him out. We ended up winning the tournament.
I remember.
Now he goes out and represents his high school team. And now he's getting on to coming up with the big boys and fishing the big tourneys and stuff, So how do you get that? I think it's a multiple different bunch of ways, right? Like you do that through the high school end of things, but on the same level, us as anglers got to take it upon ourselves to introduce more people to the sport and be more available to those younger generations.
That's
and
a
try it
huge
out.
part, being available to the younger guys, because I know Curtis Cronkright, who is he runs the youth OBN
Yep.
here in Ontario. He's always struggling to find boaters. And now we had a talk the other day, and we were bouncing ideas off each other. And I come up with something like, why cannot we get the OBN clubs to sponsor a couple of Saturdays, and guys sign up for those Saturdays? Like, every club has to put it in their schedule. Put it in their schedule,
Yeah.
and maybe that club, they need 3 boats from each club or 2 boats from each club that weekend.
Yeah, or like
You
even something like every club has to do one high school event in their schedule where they bring a high school.
That's right.
Something like that. Because I did a high school event when I had my bass boat there with Curtis, and one of the boat, he couldn't get enough boats, so we ended up having 3 kids in the boat, and it was a blast. And like, I had Dash Murray, like that kid's on the scene now. That was back then. He was just in high school. Like, these kids could fish. Double D, Darren.
Yep.
I think he was at that event. Wasn't in my boat, but I don't remember exactly where I met Darren, but I met him when he was young. He's a super polite kid, right? And
His dad's a beauty too.
and I actually I don't know if I've met his family. So Darren, let me tell you a story about Darren. So Darren, super polite kid, and he was never afraid to message me, hey, I got a Garmin question or this or that. And I don't remember the exact details, but I remember him saying, okay, I need another Garmin, the network, but he was saving up. Like, his parents weren't he was saving his money to get it. And I don't remember like how it came. And I said, Darren, like, borrow this unit for the next couple months, because he needed something for the high school tournament. And I said, borrow my graph. Here you go. He was so appreciative. You have no idea. That kid returned that to me 2 months later. I drove it to my house with his mom. That thing was like, it was brand new, like not a speck on the screen. Like, he was so appreciative of it and for helping him out. And I'll never forget that. Like, that's one of those
He'll
kids.
never forget that.
And it's one of those things where, like, he just said, like, literally, like, that was awesome. And it was, I can't do that for everybody, but it was, hey, like, I'm not using this right now. You need this to go out there and do those high school events. Go for it. Like, borrow this. And but I remember him coming to my door and grabbing it and everything. And it's just one of those things, like the future. And if you look at the CanCast show, if you looked at that crowd last year standing in that lineup, there was probably, well, we'll do a better job at getting the demographics this year for sure, but there was probably 50% of those people were high school age coming through that show almost. You know what I mean? Like
there was a lot of young.
A lot of young people, a lot of young families looking for stuff. So I agree. Like, I think we need to do something to help the next sport. And we've talked about it from Tim Boat Championship to the next tournament serious level of anglers, because everybody wants to fish different. Is kayaking the next thing to do it? Like, talking to John and Paul, they're going to have like 140 boats or kayaks some of these events this year.
Yeah,
like,
for the youth, I think if
right?
they're going to get out on their own, I think it's going to be the kayak thing.
And those guys now are even like, but even that sport's changing. Guys are putting full motors on them, and you're next thing you know, you're 10 grand into a kayak, right? It's all changing, but that's a lot more doable than $140,000 Ranger.
That's like going out with us. You got the 360, you got the 4-piece Omar. You know, you want to pay, pay to play, right? Yeah.
And there's guys that are going to dabble in both, right? Like, I'm buying a boat this year. I'm not getting rid of the kayak. Those events are a blast. It's different fishing. There's guys, they're sticks, man. They can fish. Like, it's mental. Yeah. Right? Like, it's so, yeah, no, I think we need to figure this out. By the way, John, these are really good cookies.
There's sticks in any level you go into, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I mean,
it's not easy anymore.
Maybe to have a division for that 21 and under or 20 and under, with whatever boat you have, or introduce the pro-am back into the thing where you have a boater and you have to bring in somebody new to the blood.
Because
I think we're missing that grassroots kind of level.
They used to have it, right? Like the 60 and under. And this and that.
CSF
pro-am series.
Andy runs a pro-am on Simcoe, does he not?
Yeah, but it's one,
but like,
and it's expensive.
So what about if like more pro-ams is see, this is the problem though, even with the clubby.
A pro-am series would be.
A pro-am series would be cool, but the co-angler would have to make sure it's paying his fair dues to the boater. But then you just get some, like, it's even at a clubby level. Like, you sometimes just get paired up with a boater and, like, you just don't mesh. You know what I mean? Like, and everyone's picky, but I guess that's just fishing in general.
Well, you know, the question that you're talking about, I think, has been one that's plagued the industry for a long time. And how do we get new blood into the sport? And for me, I think it all boils down to cooperation. You have to have the cooperation between tournament directors and high schools and everything to make it work in Canada. You know, Canada as a whole, you know, our population is almost the same as that of the state of California. So we don't have the population here to support our sport to begin with. Yeah. And it makes it that much harder to get sponsors on board and things like that. The money's just not there. I mean, in the States, you get a non-industry related sponsor like Tide or Lifesavers sponsor a fishing event because they know they're reaching a certain percentage of the population.
So you hit the nail on the head there, like 100%. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I apologize. But when I get a little excited sometimes. So anyways, you hit the nail on the head there about the population in general. And I can speak like Daiwa. And the season. So Daiwa, for example, the high school fishing, like that Daiwa supports, and all the companies, the fishing companies, but I'll use Daiwa because I've seen it and I can speak on their behalf. It's huge, the sport. They show up at these events, like the tents, the crews, the local reps, all the stuff. You know what I mean? Casting demos, like on the ponds, you get it. They probably have a bigger budget for the Daiwa high school team than we would have for all of Canada and marketing. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that. That's just based on the population alone.
Exactly.
And like you said, Mike, they're fishing 365 days a year down there, right? Yep. So it's tough to get return on investment in Canada on anything in fishing.
Right. Aren't we looked at just like another state?
Well, basically, but I'm not using that as Daiwa example. I'm just using that as like there's one dealer, and I'll use the firearms thing, okay? There's one dealer that in the States that will sell more ammo than all of Canada. You know what I mean? Like, and we sell ridiculous. You get my point, though. That's the general. There's dealers in the States that would sell more fishing tackle than all of Canada combined. Right? Like, it's a different level. And the budget's there. And the way these big companies work is everything's budgeted. Even though it's like, hey, it's a multi-million-dollar company. Well, there's only this little bit much allotted over here. And that's always been the thing is, how do we bring outside sponsorship? NASCAR figured it out. M&M's car, Tide car,
exactly,
whatever. But they got the eyes, so you're like, hey, you see the whatever car go around the track. But we're just not there yet. And I always say to these guys, like, we get approached for pro staff opportunities every day. And I have to say no to some good people because if I sponsored everybody, I literally wouldn't have a customer.
Exactly.
That's seriously where it's at. Like, there's some great people that say, hey, we really like to fish for Daiwa or Garmin or, YOLO to whoever. Like, we can't sponsor y'all because if we sponsored 20 of you and Shimano sponsored 20 of you and St. Croix did 20 and 13 did, like, no one's buying anything. You know what I mean? And it's the truth. Like, you guys are the customer base. So, that's something too. Like, does that maybe need to take a step back? Did the Patch Pirate thing become a sales tool instead of a marketing tool?
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a whole nother conversation we can get into. But I just think, like, we have to find that recipe. Like, you hit the nail on the head, Mike.
It's again, we're small in comparison, and that's why I think it's important for us to band together and cooperate and try and grow the sport, because that's the only way we're going to do it here.
Well, let's take a high school event, for example. Okay, what do high school kids need? So let's be realistic. In Canada, we might get, 50 kids, 60 kids? I don't know. You tell me.
For high schools?
No, for a high school event. What shows up at the OBM high school championship? Any idea?
I think they have around between 16 and 20 boats.
Okay, so let's call it 40 kids, okay? So there'd be 400 in an event to the States.
For sure.
Let's take it as if we're outside sponsor now. What does every single one of those high school kids have that might not be fishing? They all got a cell phone. So, like, where's the otter boxes of the world stepping up and sponsoring, right? Those kids are dropping their phones, use them in the boat, need waterproof cases. It's stuff like that. Like, no one's ever thinking, like I want to see the boat show up at a tournament with a wrap on it that doesn't have a single fishing sponsor.
Right.
I want to see the guy, like, there's guys like Derek Stroop. He always had CarStar. Guys like, I want to see that kind of stuff start happening. But you got to be able to show return on investment.
Exactly.
Right? And it's not hard. Like, some businesses need to spend money. They need some write-offs. They got to spend some money. Accountant says, hey, spend some money here because if not, you're paying it in taxes here. Find a way to help that business. Maybe you got to set up at one of their open houses. Just let people come and sit on the boat, look at it, talk about fishing. Like, I don't know what it is, but the problem is, and I'm ranting right now. I'm sorry. I'm on a roll. I'm sick of the emails like, hey, I sick of emails, hey, I fish tournaments and I can put your sticker on our boat. And like, nah, we don't care. We don't care. So, anyways.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's the truth.
It is, and it's just so, I don't know where I think we got way off track here. Because we were talking about how to get kids into it, sponsors, but I'm just saying, like, it's...
Shitter's full.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I need to take a drink out of my Christmas mug here.
Wow. You do look good.
You did a good job tonight. I will admit. Joan, those are good cookies. I only had a nibble here quick because I didn't want to be smacked.
They're gone.
They're
gone?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got the next one here. Okay. We talk about high school. We talk about the guys. What about the amount of women that are stepping up and fishing?
Woo!
Dude, there's some sticks now. Like, there's
Mike's wife.
The young, oh my! I was
The young sisters,
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Down east?
Yeah.
Or down west, sorry.
Oh, they're hammers on here.
yeah.
Oh, and then
Met them at the show last year, and they're taking off.
they're gonna do it.
Fans.
They're gonna do amazing. Like, they're gonna win tournaments
Yeah,
in
for
their
sure.
day.
They dig.
And you know what's awesome about it too is want to get back sponsorship thing. There's like a group of ladies. Not only can they all fish, they're way better at producing content than all you guys out there combined.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with them being a lady or how you look. Like, they legitimately know how to make better posts.
No, it's a lot easier for a girl to get a like than
Okay.
Mark Hunter.
I don't know. Look at that chest on.
Oh my God!
I'd rub some Vicks on that.
No, I'm being serious. A lot of
You
them.
did say Vicks. Right?
A lot of them post more frequently, post better, and don't make spelling mistakes. They do a really good job at it, some of them. So that's what I mean. Like, hats off to all the, whether they're coming up being the influencers or they're coming up to the tournament scene.
Yeah.
We're going to see a ton of women
Well, I
in the
think
next
that's
10
where
years
you
hit
get
the sport.
next angler. Like, the next anglers are going to be a lot of women.
Yeah.
And maybe even more so than the youth group that we've got coming up. Like, it's a big part of the industry, and how do we target them and get them into the industry is what we got to look at as companies, right?
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. The women. I mean, let's face it. They have half the money, right?
Yeah, they do.
More.
They have half the
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, I see it with my wife, of course. I mean, she's my tournament partner now, and we have a blast. When we don't win any money, of course, that comes out of the same bank account. So,
But you spend a
it
day
hurts.
with your wife on the water.
100%. It's great. I love it. And to be quite honest, I get more enjoyment watching her catch a fish than I do myself. And it's like that when I'm guiding for my clients as well. And that's part of the guiding too. I mean, you have to, there is a disconnect there between tournament fishing and guiding, where I love fishing and I love catching fish and I love catching big fish. But man, there is something about having a client on your boat when they lace into a 5-pound smallmouth and it's going crazy out there and he's screaming and his kids are screaming and you're fumbling for the net. I mean, it's a blast.
Oh, for sure. That you get more excited for them than you do yourself sometimes when you're fishing in a big tournament. You know, the heart's only been pumping so long, and it can for Rice Lake or something when you catch a 4-pounder down there. But when you get a client that catches a 3-pounder and it's just going nuts, your heart goes through the roof. And you're like, get that in here so we can take a picture of it.
Right. You guys need yellow techs on your boat filming the whole time.
100%.
Exactly.
You do. That's the best guide tool. Like, you get that. The thing was running the whole time. We'll pull that clip out for you. Here you go.
Exactly. For sure.
No.
We'll talk. I'll have my people call your people.
Perfect.
We used to do that on my boat.
You got
we used to
people?
we used to have these little handhelds, and I remember taking a guy out from Carolinas, Shawn Mccaul, used to come up muskie fishing every first of the season, and I would videotape a lot of him just fishing, and we've got a couple of 50 inchers on the camera, and we made some videos of them. Like, this is 15 years ago, so you're not getting the editing that we're getting on this show or anything, but Gary put together a couple of videos and threw them on YouTube, and it's pretty neat to look back on that stuff. But like you say, with the YOLO tech and everything else, it's running all the time, and you can just pull a clip nowadays, throw it, and anybody can edit it.
You know? So easy. So we've talked about getting people into the sport, and we're like, we got to get more. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Let's take the Kawarthas, because we're all from this area, and I know we got people listening from different areas of the province, but we're going to use the Kawarthas because it's going to apply everywhere. Can we overfish it? Are we getting to that point? Is the fishery healthy? Do we need to make changes? Where are we at? Let's take COVID. We got a whole bunch of people in the fishing. Probably was great for your guys' businesses.
It's huge.
Let's say we even maintain, and they're not all going to keep fishing because they're back. We're back as an industry. We're not just competing with ourselves now. We're competing with sports again, family vacations, people going traveling, money's getting spent different places, price of fuel, whatever. But if we even retain 20% of them, we're going to have a huge boom in fishing, which you like to think will mean more tournament guys, eventually vice versa. If you go to Rice Lake on a Saturday, it's a pretty busy spot. Scugog, I think we've seen it all happen. Are we going to overfish these?
I don't think you can. Like, you look at some of the lakes down south, there's a huge population of fishermen and weekend anglers, boat traffic, whatever. Like, we just come back from Hartwell, and guys were saying, you should see it out here in the summer. It's just absolutely nuts. And I'm like, it was pretty busy out there with boats this weekend. And it's a big body of water, but, like, I mean, there was still a lot of fishermen out there doing what they do, and there was a lot of fishing pressure on that lake, but it keeps rejuvenating. And I think our lakes are as healthier than that down there. We don't have the restocking programs in a lot of the local lakes for bass or anything like that. They're just naturally reproducing. But, like, I mean, we have some great fishing here in Ontario, and we used to bring people from Texas up. I remember 15, 20 years ago bringing people from Texas up, and they were going, we don't catch fish like this. We don't catch them every other cast down there. You got to wait half a day to get a fish, and you might be lucky to catch 4 or 5. Up here, you catch, like, how many fish you catch a day, Mikey, on your charters? Come on, this is a plug for you.
Yeah. You have to be careful what you say because everyone will expect that every time. No, I mean, it's not uncommon to have, 15, 20 fish days in a 4-hour excursion, a 4-hour tour. Other days, you're struggling to get 5 or 6 in the boat.
Right.
I think with that, though, too, you need the policing. Like, down south, they have a lot.
That was my point.
They have a lot more policing down there with regards to their natural resources. They protect it a lot better than we do.
Like, it's pretty common to see, what do they call them down there? Not the ministry, DR, what do they call them?
DNV.
But it's pretty common to see, like, one of their wildlife enforcement officers at a boat
They were at
ramp,
the launch
right?
both days.
Like it's
They were-
all the time. Like you basically like talking to like our U.S. reps down there, like, oh, buddy, like we expect to see them every day,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's our huge downfall here.
And I don't know what the dollars and cents or how that makes sense to them, but like we don't have a lot of, even in hunting, right, Shawn?
Right.
You don't see a lot of it. You don't see a lot of them out there. And when you open it, like I had this discussion with them when they opened up the ice fishing in the
In the
Fourth Lakes.
Kawarthas?
I'm like, they're like, yeah, you should be all for this, people from the ministry, right? And I'm like, I'm more in tune with what's going on with the fishery than making $1 out of somebody coming and putting up a hut or maybe hiring me to take them out ice fishing.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to know what impact this is going to have when we only have 2 conservation officers for X amount of area,
Right.
you know?
And the thing too is, if you know that conservation officer was spotted over here earlier because of Facebook post, this guy 4 hour away, 2, even an hour away knows he's probably not going to see him today, and he can get away with stupid stuff.
And like I've been out there, like how many days are we on the water? How many days have you been stopped?
I got stopped twice this year, but it was only to do a survey.
Yeah.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
and that's
stopped
not
to
a
do
conservation
no,
officer.
That's a volunteer.
They're working for the
school.
ministry.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I totally agree. That was the point I was going to bring up.
I have seen them out there and they do their job when they're there, but like there's not enough of them.
That's right. There's not enough money that funds them.
Would you pay double your fishing license to have more officers?
I don't pay for a fishing license.
No. You know what?
Yeah, but I would for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
that's
know,
your fair. But that's your right.
As,
but
as
I mean,
a First Nation person,
Yeah.
we are the first conservationists. We want that resource to be there for the next
Yeah.
people because that was our
lively
sustenance.
Yeah.
like that's what we had to eat.
So
So
as
we
a
had to
guide, like,
be
I'm sorry, Mike,
there,
but
yep.
I'm guessing like there's people that are going to be on your boat that want to keep everything that they catch. It's
Yeah.
going to happen, right? How do you guys handle that? Saying, like, that's a 5-pounder, maybe that should go back. Like, how would you address that?
We exactly address. I exactly address it like that. This is a trophy fish. This is a spawning fish that needs to go back to carry on the genes so somebody else can catch it down the road.
That's the education part, right?
Yeah. If you want to take an eater-sized fish or your limit of eater-sized fish, I'm all for that. But this fish has to go back. And we can take pictures. We can take measurements. They have replica mounts now out there that we can.
which are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
detail.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got one.
Yeah.
This is what we can do with that. But that's education because they don't know that.
Do you ever do like a shore lunch?
Hey?
Do you ever do like the old-fashioned
Oh,
shore
yeah.
lunch?
Yeah, I offer that in my services for sure. A lot of the time it's out of my freezer that I've caught before. You have it as backup, or we go out and catch a few fish and we'll flay them up and fry them up right out there. But I mean, yeah, but like at the same time, you're within your conservation level when you're doing that kind of stuff, and hopefully passing that education on to somebody that will down the road go, oh, you know what? Let's throw that one back, son. We'll keep the next pound and a half. And I always tell them they're better eating.
Well, I've told this story a couple times before that
But when,
I've fished for a long time.
is this a story about when
Since I
Mark
was a
shot your
kid.
pet deer? 'Cause
No,
he tastes
no,
better?
no.
Oh, okay.
Still
I'm just checking.
delicious.
I'm just
Yeah,
checking.
yeah.
Okay.
But like in the early 2000s, I wasn't in tournament fishing. I went fishing with buddies of mine, and they like to eat everything we caught. I got a picture of me holding a 6-pound smallmouth in the front entry of Buddy's house. And I'm just tickled. I'm like, here you go. I caught you this great big fish, right? And I'm looking back at that picture. I'm like, oh, my God. Like,
I'm a horrible
did I
person.
do?
well, but I didn't know, right?
But
And it was my own ignorance, but I never thought about it like that.
But it's
I thought about catching this big fish, and I'm like, look at all the meat you got.
yeah.
I never thought about returning the fish. That's a spawner. That this is not what you should do. You should keep, a 2-3 pounder, right?
But I think that's what would make, if I was on your guy's boat, that's what would make the day to me. If I was a new angler, yeah, you know what? We only caught like 10 fish, but I learned a lot. I learned like, it's little things like that. Like I learned, we caught one big one, put it back, and just little things. Like I feel like if I was a customer, as long as I came away feeling like I learned something, I'd probably be okay with the money I gave you. You know what I mean?
Is there a section in the regs that actually kind of addresses that, like let those bigger fish go? And
I don't.
I guess it would depend on the
that's
slot
their
size.
slot
right?
sizes.
yeah, there's slot sizes.
Yeah, but
there's
like,
no
I mean-
slot sizes for bass.
No, but like
Yeah, there is.
like you say,
No, there's not.
There's slot size for bass
Where?
in the regs.
you can catch an 8-pounder and keep it.
Huh?
Sure, you can.
I don't think there's a slot size for bass, at least not in this zone.
No.
No, because remember when Corey Johnson's on, we were talking about the seasons difference, and he was all like, if we just had a slot size, we could solve half these problems.
Yeah.
And he's right. So,
Yeah, but like
You look how well the slot size is working in Texas,
yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. Like,
right?
and that's management, right?
That's it.
They have
Well-
everybody there all the time, and they're promoting that stuff. We don't promote throw back the big one up here.
No.
we don't.
Not at all.
We don't. It's you get 5. That's what you get. Well, I'm keeping this one. I caught a 7-pounder right off the kick. I don't know if I'm going to catch another one. So he's coming home with me. You know?
Right.
yeah.
So that's where the Ontario government and whoever has to step up to say, you know what, let's promote this so we can have this resource for more people coming through.
Right.
And that starts at a grassroots level too. That starts with dad promoting it
Yep.
to his son. You know, you have to get that wheel turning. And for me, I know I gently persuade most of my clients to they're at the mindset that they're not keeping any fish when they book with me. There are some that want to keep a few, but for the most part, I'm 100% catch and release. I do have a few clients that have kept a couple of bass here and there, or the odd walleye if it falls within the slot. But for the most part, I don't carry a fillet knife on my boat, and I don't carry plastic bags. So if you're going to keep something, you better
Put it in your
come-
pocket.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, yeah. No, that's a good way of doing it, too.
But I mean, I don't have a problem with that. It is a natural resource. If you purchase a fishing license, you're entitled to keep your 5 bass or your 4 walleye or 3 walleye or whatever the case might be.
Well, like you go on a salmon charter, you're keeping 5.
Exactly. And
You're
I
right.
mean, it depends on the fish and where you catch them as well. I mean, if you're ice fishing and you catch a whitefish out of 60 feet of water, I'm sorry, but it's not going back because it's not going to make it. They can't
That's
release air
That's
out of their
right.
swim bladder. If it's a lake trout, they'll burp on the way up and you can release it. But trying to get that whitefish back into the water, it's going to die anyway, so you might as well keep it. And once you've caught your 2 fish limit, I think,
On most lakes.
Whitefish are tasty.
They
Yeah,
have
you smoke a
tasty.
whitefish?
I want to
Oh.
smoke a whitefish.
Oh, man. Oh, that's your new name, Whitefish.
White buffalo? Which is the whitefish?
Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. So you guys both got a lot of people that have probably like helped you out over the years. You guys have been this a long time. You got a lot of patches on your hat. You guys
That's
got
fired.
beautiful rigs. Anybody you want to give and this isn't the end of the podcast. I'm just getting back to some of the stuff. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Well, you got the chance.
Actually, my grandmother passed away yesterday morning.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
buddy.
So she's the one that actually got me into fishing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Used to take us over to the cabin and we fished all the time. And so that grew my passion of fishing. So you're talking about young anglers, family members and stuff like that. You guys get out there and take your kids fishing. It makes a huge difference. Keeps us out of trouble, most trouble. But yeah, I know. I'd like to give a shout out to her and hope she's having a safe journey to where she needs to get to. But also, yeah, I know I got to thank a lot of people in the industry, like Paris Marine, Daiwa, Garmin. Like,
yeah, I see them on
cou-
your hat.
I couldn't be doing what I'd be doing, and to the extent I've been doing without them. Like my grandfather, my grandmother, like I said, helped me to get into this industry. They bought us our first boat to get into tournaments, which I in turn used for guiding after that. And like I said, you do need a lot of help in fishing. It's not a cheap sport. It's an expensive sport. So, like I say, anybody you can get on your side to help you out with a discount or $1 or anything, encouragement, whatever. It goes a long way in the sport.
Yeah, and it actually made me laugh a little bit when you were talking about how many people come to you with a resume, you know, asking for a sponsorship. Because back in the day when I first started in this, that's what we used to do. You would go to the sportsman show and spend the entire day there. You had, you know, a backpack full of resumes that you were handing out to all these people. And, you know, that's the way it was done.
And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I just mean, like, find a way to make your resume look better than this guy's resume.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. It was like, it's like, I don't need your name and your date of birth. Sorry, I need your name. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like.
And nowadays,
Yeah.
it's not your wins or whatever. It's more
It's your social media numbers.
exactly.
And it's
how
not
you
even like.
how you can promote their product.
It's your watch
and get it out
minutes.
there. You know?
And me and Warren and Greg, we talk about this all the time together. Like when we're talking about who we want to work with this year and stuff. And it's, yeah, social media is one thing, but we got people that are really good at that. And we got people that are really good at working shows and events, guides, you know, stuff like that. Everyone's got a flair. We got a couple guys that can talk like the best of them over here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
But you get my point.
One, maybe two are sexy AF.
Only one over here.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that's the way we used to do it.
Yeah.
I know.
So, I mean, when I started out, I was with Okuma for a while. I was with Abu Garcia. You know, I'm fortunate. I've been with Shimano and G. Loomis for a number of years now, and great guys to work with. And the core group of people that are, you know, in that pro staff program are great anglers. And, you know, to me, it doesn't matter what flag you're flying. You know, we're all in this together.
100%.
I agree. There's like we don't, just so you guys at the industry level, like we all get along. All of us reps. There's like some of my best buds. You know what I mean? Like we all get along. So it's nothing like that. We don't talk. Like it's all. There's so many great companies, and like you guys said earlier about tournament guys getting along. We all get along and help grow a sport too. Like it's just how we do it because
I think
some great people in this industry. Great people.
You want that relationship almost more than the brand, right?
100%.
Like, you know,
100%.
with Iowa and Garmin, I love the people I work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes you want to work harder for them, right? And promote their products, and they're easy to promote.
And I
100%,
see,
you know.
I see Hookers on there.
Oh, Hookers, yeah. Hookers
And I
Fishing, yeah, that's my partner, Jeff.
Jeff, he's a beauty.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to the CanCast show again. And we got Vic.
Yeah.
I've known Vic. Vic, I love Vic, man.
I've known. He's got it's called the bait bunker down there.
Oh, it's
You
unreal.
ever been to the bait bunker? He's
It's
got a few
legit-
beer in the freezers too.
It's legitimately a bunker.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's
Vic's
awesome.
Vic's a beauty. I've known him way before I even got
The
fishing.
John
Motocross.
Yeah.
The John Wick
Yeah.
room of fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, Vic's. We'll get Vic on one day. He's hilarious.
Oh, he's beauty.
Yeah, he's a beauty. So you guys know each other for a long time.
Yeah, quite a while. It's actually funny because when I first started tournament fishing, it was about the same time as Mike. We actually fished different circuits back then. I think Mikey used to fish a lot of top bass.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of CSFL, so we very rarely crossed paths. And then there was one year that I fished with another partner just to fill in because his partner couldn't make the whole series. And I just remember this guy saying, "I don't care if we win or not, we just got to beat Williams." And I didn't know who this Williams guy was. And then he pointed him out to me, and I'm like, okay. You know, I had an immediate hate on for this guy because my tournament partner didn't like
It's a big wang.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, Wanger? What's Wanger?
Yeah, what is
When I
Wanger?
first got-
So the story behind the wanger.
I knew this was good.
Now let's back up. We're gonna show a picture of this right now. We're gonna show a picture of your boat. We're gonna show a picture of both your boats because, like, your boat we've already talked about. Rap's unbelievable. Your boat looks great, but it has Wanger. What's Wanger right down the side? Tell us.
So I used to run a Skeeter, an 01 or 2000 Skeeter back in the day, and the stickers were peeling off it. So I went in, I contacted Skeeter, and I said, stickers are peeling off. I'm a fishing guy from Ontario. I take a lot of people out in your boat, blah, blah, blah. Could you shoot me a couple stickers? No. $300 a piece. And I'm like, what? You can't wrap. I could wrap a boat for that, right? So, anyways, my grandfather had just passed this year, so that's my grandmother that just passed husband, right? So, and they're the ones that I owe my fishing career to. So, that happened. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay tribute to my grandfather, and his name was Wanger, Wellington Williams, but everybody called him Wanger. He had on his license plate. That's where I get the Wang from and everything like that, right?
Wanger.
So I decided to throw that on my boat as a tribute to him, and it's just stuck ever since. And he's with me out there all the time.
That's wicked. Now that I know the story, it all makes sense.
And you know what I first thought when I saw it the first time? I thought he was playing on Ranger.
That's what I thought.
and
too.
I thought
Ranger.
it was Wanger.
That's what I thought.
Wayne.
and I thought he was
I've heard that one before too.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's wicked. So any other stories you guys got about each other that you want to share?
About each other.
Come on, you must
Oh
have
my
some
gosh.
dirt. You must have some dirt.
Well, I mean, as good of friends as you are, sometimes that ends once you're on the water.
Oh, there's no
And
friends
there's
tournament day.
Yeah, there's no friends in a fishing competition. But I will give it to Mikey that there was a classic on Stony Lake.
Where?
Probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, somewhere around there. But anyways, him and his partner and myself, my partner, we all made it to the final day where the last 10 boats were fishing. And
This is the CSFL Classic?
yeah. And I think we were ahead by a pound going into the final day, and it just didn't happen for us. And I mean, we weighed in, and I think they ended up beating us by less than a pound to take a back-to-back championship on Stony. So some days that just makes you want to fight even harder and beat the guy even more. But Mike and I are good friends. We always have been. He's a great guy. We get along good, and that's helpful when you're doing guiding as well, because there are times when I get a phone call and I'm booked and I pass it off to Mike, and
Yep.
Mike does the same to me. And there's other guides that we work with as well. I mean,
And you guys do group trips together?
yeah, if there's like a bachelor party or something and they've got, 10 or 12 guys, we'll arrange to get 3 or 4 boats together. It's hard to fish more than 3 or 4 people in a boat.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I try and keep my numbers to
2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3 is perfect for, a 21-foot bass boat. Any more than that, I mean, you're dealing with hooks flying around.
Yeah.
And, guys that maybe aren't that good at fishing. So, but yeah, we work together. We'll get a bunch of boats together. And if we want to go kind of as a group and fish areas together, everyone can chirp each other and, cheer each other on, whatever the case might be. But
How many hooks have you guys pulled out of clients?
0.
yeah,
Zero?
0 for
Zero.
me too.
How about
in
yourselves?
25 plus years. Actually, I did get one while I was with clients. So I used to take a group out. They were from Vancouver. The kids were. The older gentleman, the guy who booked us, was kind of a local guy, but his son was out in BC. So they came out and got to know them over a few years. And they're like, yeah, just take the kids out and we'll hang back here. So I was out there with these 2 kids one afternoon and got on a topwater bite, and I ended up hooking one and went to take it off, and the thing flipped and jammed into my thumb. And I'm trying not to swear because these kids are young.
Yeah.
Can you get the pliers out? And so the kid gave me the pliers. I was like, okay. Yank it out of my hand or whatever, and didn't curse at all. But that was the only time I've ever got hooked up with clients.
Yeah, I've been lucky. It hasn't happened to me with a client at all. I mean, I'm sure as anglers, we've all had one stuck in us at one point in time or another. But I know my old fishing partner, he had a jerk bait in a pike one day, and he had it behind the head, and that thing thrashed at the wrong time, and it actually buttoned 4 of his fingers together with the treble. He couldn't open up his hand. Oh yeah, it was bad.
You got any pictures of that?
No, but there was lots of people around who witnessed it. It was on Lake Muskoka. Those guys will know if they listen to the podcast who it was. But yeah, I mean, you just got to be careful, right? It's one of those things where you're dealing with fish, and it's always the small ones I find that get you. Yeah. You can catch a big smallmouth bass, 4 pounds, and maybe it's because they fight so much before you get them into the boat that they're tired and they don't thrash around much. But those little peanuts that are about 14 inches long, those are the ones that get you every time, aren't they?
Full of attitude.
So do clients that come with you, do they need to get a fishing license, or do you have
Yes,
like a guided license that you run under?
No.
They have to get a purchase their own fishing.
Yeah,
license.
and
Unless
whether
it's one of the free days, right?
Yeah.
The family fishing days.
So if they're under the age of 16, is it? Under 16?
I think it's.
Or is it 18?
I'm not sure. We should know, but I buy my list every year, and I don't know.
If they're 65 or older, or under the age of 16, I think, they don't require one. And if they just are going to come out for a day or whatever.
1 day, 2 day fishing.
Yeah, or they just get a conservation license. The only downfall with that is that sometimes they can't fish for certain species with a conservation license.
Right. No muskie.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, with everything being available online now, it's easy for someone to just, purchase a license online, print it off, or at least have a copy on their phone. But I prefer if they have a hard copy as well.
Right.
And, it's...
What should people know before they step on your boat?
Yeah, like you go over boat etiquette.
Well,
Not really, but like, I mean,
You can figure someone out pretty quick within 5 minutes.
don't wear your muddy work boots into the boat,
Oh, you guys must have like you like send out a message before like proper footwear. Like you must.
No, I mean,
bring what you want.
Honestly,
we deal with it, and it is what it is.
I actually got a goat angling mat for an early Christmas present, and I was thinking about putting that on the deck of the boat when they first step off the dock to get them to wipe their feet and then tuck it away. It's kind of funny, but you brought that up.
That's a good idea.
Dude, I would hate when people get in my boat with bad shoes.
Yeah.
I
But
think
no,
people
for
go
the
bare
most
feet.
part, they're pretty
My
respectable.
carpets were horrible.
There's a lot of goat dung or goose dung, not goat dung.
There might be some of that around too.
No, but getting back to the dirt on Mikey and I got nothing on this guy. He's super clean and he's such a great guy.
You guys
like
are
I said,
way too nice.
To be classy and come out to my place just like reiterates what kind of guy he is.
Right.
And like got nothing but respect for him. And when he started, he was getting into the business. I said, hang on to your shoes. It might be a long ride, but once you get in there, you're not going to make $1 million, but you're gonna love what you're doing every day. You're gonna wake up and it's a new experience every day. Some days are longer than others, but welcome him and try to send business his way, and we try to, like you say, work together and work together towards that common goal of both of us being able to make a living out of what we love doing.
And that's good
And
because
provide a service,
And if it wasn't him, it'd be somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where it's always like, look, competition, whether it's friendly or not, it's always going to be there. Yeah,
And it's totally different. I could bring Shawn out or Mark in my boat, and there's no pressure,
Right.
because we know each other, we're friends, whatever. As soon as you get a paying client on your boat, I mean, speaking for myself, I was petrified the very first client that I had on my boat, and I know
doesn't end, right?
Until you caught the first fish.
Yeah, until we got the first one, and I mean, it didn't help that he was an elderly gentleman who needed to sit in the grandpa chair, I call it, in the back.
Oh, the Bill Dance.
Yeah.
And it was his daughter-in-law, and neither one of them really could fish. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the first clients I'm ever going to have on my boat. And literally, I was petrified. My heart was in my throat the whole time until somebody finally caught one. And then it was like, okay, calm down, take a breath. You got this.
Yeah.
And then, once I started to relax, maybe they started to relax a little bit too. And, the hard part, I think, and Mike can probably, chime in on this as well, is those hours, and sometimes it is hours in between fish.
Right.
You've got to fill in that dead air with something. And I remember I Googled all kinds of facts about the lake, about Balsam Lake, when I had my first clients coming out, so I could have something to talk about.
Give us some facts on Balsam.
Oh, well, there's lots. I mean, first of all, it is the highest elevation lake in all of the Kawarthas.
Huh.
So no water flows into Balsam Lake. Everything flows out of Balsam Lake. One side flows into Mitchell and then makes its way to Simcoe. The other side comes down this way through the, these local lakes here.
Jeez.
So that was one fact that I learned. There was a kind of a morbid fact that, there was a bunch of Boy Scouts that drowned out on Balsam Lake back in the 40s or 50s on a bad canoeing expedition. I don't tell that story when there's young children on the boat, of course. But
Were they ever found or?
well, yeah, I mean, they found some of them, I guess. Whether or not they found them all, I don't remember the exact details of the story. That was a few clients ago. But yeah, that I was just trying to, get the point across that it is fun to do. I enjoy my job. It's for a lot of people, they're probably like, oh my gosh, can you imagine fishing for a living? But the romance wears off quick. It's just like
it's tough.
traveling. Yeah, I traveled a lot for my previous job, and the first couple of years, it was great. I went to almost every state that there was. And
That's where I'm at right now.
But,
Yeah.
that romance of travel wears off real quick, where you're sitting by yourself with 10 other guys in the same restaurant who are all by themselves.
Yep,
too.
talking to the bartender. I do
Yeah.
it right, and everyone's like, "Oh, it must be so nice. You're going out traveling, good restaurants." Like, look,
yeah.
I'm going to Vegas,
But-
I'm standing on a trade show floor all day. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a steak dinner, but that gets old real quick, and I'd like to go home and have a home cooked meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if this-
So to be a
this-
guide, you have to have that rapport with
yeah,
Oh, 100%.
and you have to be able to make small talk or whatever it was. And I was never really great at that growing up, but I've learned to adapt to.
You're
be able
pretty
to-
good at
you
it.
never,
Well,
you
now
never
I-
talk.
I was going to say, he's a pretty good storyteller now.
Yeah,
I've
you're
heard
pretty
some
good.
ones.
Like, I mean,
This is awesome.
they have expectations when they get on the boat, like we've all taken a guide and you want to be put on fish and you want to catch something, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we have an understanding as fishermen that may not happen. And,
That's why it's called
or
fishing.
a deer hunter or whatever. It may not happen today and whatever. But like some people don't have that.
And that's a good
you're-
analogy.
You're pressured to catch these people fish and make their experience, whether they catch fish or not, great. So that's why you have to have that jibber jabber and be able to relate to them, make jokes and have a good time and make
Exactly.
them feel comfortable.
Right.
You said it was like hunting. I heard someone say that.
Yeah,
but
Mike,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, there are people that book like an elk guided trip, whether that's in Utah or wherever,
Expect to
and
feel
they'll
the
go
pain.
for 10 days, spend their $8,000 US, and not even see an elk.
Yeah, I know a guy that did that.
we all know a guy that did that.
So,
Total whites.
Is he wearing a super tight Christmas hat?
Oh my god, okay. I'm gonna be honest right now. My head is killing me. Like my temples. Like I'm like actually like I got it. I look at this. Mike saw me. I'm looking at the Yellowtech hat. Like I might put this on. Like my head is just killing me. But anyways.
So yeah, I mean, it happens. We're only human, and we're dealing with a wild creature.
Right.
We can do our best to take you to spots where we've caught fish in the past and show you our secret bait, and put you and give you all the tools that you need. But that fish has still got to be willing to bite. And
So
you know
when
what?
you face adversity, I've got a question for a guy here.
Whoa.
So when you face adversity like that, Michael,
That's a big word.
Adversity.
Somebody else some alphabet.
how do you approach that? When do you switch it right up? Do we go for a different species, or what do we do?
Well, most of the time, it depends on the lake. And, this is something Mike and I have had some chitter chat back and forth. Whenever we're doing a tournament and we're in the same tournament together, it never fails. We end up in the same area at some point in the day. And my
Even
wife,
though I'm a bank beater.
the bank beater. And typically what happens is my wife and I will be out here fishing, that 8 to 10 feet, 8 to 12 feet of water.
Right.
And here comes Mike and his partner on the inside of us fishing at 4 foot and shallow.
Live scope just going, eh? 4
Yeah.
feet.
Oh, you know what? We talked about that before.
did.
And I would have been lost on Hartwell without live scope. I'll tell you what.
Best thing
It's
ever.
crazy.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. I said it's funny because, here I am fishing a lot of offshore stuff without live scope and without, any type of fancy sonar like that. And here you are, he's got it, and he's, fishing areas that it's of no use to him. But
Oh no, the perspective works down.
Oh, the
okay,
perspective
yes.
mode now, especially on the LVS 34.
Oh, it's so clear.
What a difference!
well,
like
I'm getting
game changer.
I'm getting it, so just be
You
prepared.
you don't have it right now.
I do not.
Oh, I know
Right
who I'm
now.
hiring for a guide. Williams. Just kidding.
Everything that I have right now, I've learned the hard way through the years.
I love it.
Wow!
And I got this
wait
comment
until you put
on
it
a
on your
thread.
boat.
Oh, I know. It's on the hit list. Believe me.
I got this comment on a thread through
That
Facebook. and
that
it just
reminds
irked
me. Here's
you know?
here's my resume.
Yeah.
It just irked me as a fisherman in general, and this guy's talking about live scope and we need to get tournaments without graphs. Have you heard that one?
Oh,
before?
buddy, we've talked about it. It's driving.
And
Tournaments
it's
without
like-
graphs.
Well, yeah, we should get tournaments to ban graphs and ban all this technology we got out now.
Oh, why don't we
blah,
just
blah,
fish
blah.
from the shore?
Well,
Yeah.
that's it, right? And if you want a tournament like that, start up a series. But
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean, he's like, well, old school guys didn't do that and they didn't use this. I'm like, coming from an old school guy who has a live scope, like, use what technology's in front of you, and you better learn it or you're going to get left behind.
That's it.
You know, like in with the Garmin live scope and with all this technology I have on my boat, like Mike said, sometimes I don't use it, but there's other times like Hartwell or Stony Lake nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, I've got Stony Lake dialed in pretty good. When you say, Mike?
How many classic wins?
2 plus about 3 or 4 fireman's combos, but we won't go there.
Right.
I think they call me the king of Stony Lake, but we'll leave that for another show. But no,
Queen
like,
sometimes. Man.
but yeah, exactly. But like, you need that stuff, and you need to advance with the fishing products as they come out, or you're left behind. You are, and you can only do so much as a bank beater or whatever you want to call them, or you're fishing weeds or whatever. That only goes so far. And if you want to be the guy or be the one to beat on any different lake, you got to use all the tools that are available. Like, more tools you have in your toolbox, the better off you are. And I say that a lot guiding too, right? Like, a lot of people come out and say, oh, geez, I've never used a Senko before. Well, throw it in your toolbox.
Oh,
I guarantee it's going to catch you fish on every different lake you ever want to be on.
Or the dinger.
The dumb dinger.
Yeah. So I think live scope like would be great as a guide because it'd be entertaining for the clients to watch. Hey, like, there's your lure.
Super.
See it go down. Oh, the fish is coming now. Like, I think it'd be a game changer
Super.
for
Like,
you guys.
walleye fishing this year was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I set up on a hump. We get out there. They're here. They're like, what do you mean they're here? Come on up here. They're swimming across the bottom.
Yeah.
I have it on down view, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, watch this. Drop the bait down, and you see them come over. Oh, there's one.
Yeah.
And
They're like,
following
no
lead
way,
lines.
no way you just did that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Next level.
get up here. You come up and drop your bait down there. You're gonna
That's
go.
definitely
It was crazy.
an experience for
Like,
a
just
client
finding
when you
those
can do
weed lines
for
and that
sure.
spar stuff off them or whatever. The live scope is.
Yeah.
And I didn't use a
just-
lot of forward mode.
Yeah.
Just more perspective and down.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, on Hartwell, you needed that forward view to see what trees you were fishing and see where those fish were, and you were in 50 feet of water.
It's definitely a game changer.
totally
for sure.
totally new. Like, if I didn't have it down there, I'd have been screwed.
I
got to the one spot, there's a fish, drop down, bang.
And I argue this with guys all the time because they're like, well, everybody can't afford it, this and that. Okay, I'm watching guys spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of dollars on tackle. Like, they don't even need like $50 jerk baits and rods and reels. They don't even use half them. And like, it's only getting more affordable. Yeah, you're still like around that $2,000 mark to get the top of the line. But there is even like, remember the first Panoptics, like LVS 12, like they're out there for like $400 right now.
Yeah, but guys
Even
are
that's-
turning those over.
Exactly.
The guys are turning those over to get the new
Yeah,
stuff.
so you can go and
keep
get
your
one.
eye open.
Get them used. There's always great promos on certain times of year. Like, it's the number one thing, and it lasts. Like, it doesn't wear out. It doesn't break usually. Like, it lasts forever. They have great warranties.
Garmin.
Like,
Garmin's got the
it's
best warranties.
It's one of the thing where like it's just like, look, if you're gonna do something, that's probably what you need to do.
Yeah.
To get, like you said, to keep up with it.
And people, and the guy was talking about, oh, well, all these pros on the TV show don't tell you how it works or what they're doing. They're just looking at their live scope. I'm like, fishermen in general are pretty tight-lipped on what they're doing and why they're doing it,
And-
especially in competition, right? Like,
Yeah.
Johnsons aren't going to say, yeah, I'm out here in 15 feet of water and I'm scanning for a boulder and I'm casting that boulder every time. They're not going to tell you that because the next guy in line is going to
Here, pan in on my
Well,
graph so you can see the waypoint.
We talked about this with Corey.
100%.
Guys use it differently.
Yeah.
Cal
Oh,
uses
for
different, Corey, and that's it. And everyone's got their own way. I use it differently too. Like when we were out trout fishing with Danny and them in the Tim boats. It was unbelievable.
You
Like,
guys cut us off.
yeah,
Yeah, you did.
whatever. Long story. So, anyways, back to Christmas special. We got a few minutes left here before we wrap this up. Christmas is coming. What do you guys, if you're asking for it on your wish list, we know Mr. Goat here is asking for a live scope.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But in all seriousness, I can't do that word every time.
All seriousness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What would you guys want to get in your stocking this year if you could pick something?
You're first.
What do you mean? Why do I got to be first?
Because you don't get any fishing tackle anymore. You're having a kid. Like, it's done.
I know.
I'll buy your
baby
boat.
clothes and stuff.
I'll buy your
My
boat.
boat ain't for sale.
Oh, buddy,
When's the
it's
diaper
over.
party, bud? That's what I want to know.
It's over.
It's coming.
It's over.
You want to know when my babies do?
Hey, Mike, you want his live scope?
Yeah, ask him when his
Selling.
babies
He's
do.
selling it.
You know what my babies do?
Oh, bass opener.
June 18th.
That's great planning, bud.
Nice.
Yeah. At least it's not on opening a whitetail or anything.
Right. Well, last year, Mercer Marine, he got his wife pregnant.
Yeah.
And she was due bass opener, and I ripped on him. Like, just gave him the gears.
You guys gotta
Not
plan
just gave
these
him the
things.
gears. Every single time I seen the guy, and I seen him a lot, ripped on him for it. Look, this guy can't do math. I'm like,
Now it's coming back.
having a
on
baby
you.
on bass opener.
Karma.
So she told me, the day she told me, I stopped and I looked at her and I was like, no.
Remember, nobody tell anybody this. This is a secret.
Don't tell anybody she's
If Jamie
pregnant.
doesn't listen to this show, we're in the clear.
Yeah.
Just nobody message her.
Yeah. That's don't
I can't
talk
wait to say
her.
congratulations to her as soon as we leave here.
Yeah. I know.
So, all right.
So I
So,
called Mercer right away.
yeah.
Like within 5 minutes of me finding out, I'm like, dude. He's like, what's up? I said, I did it. He's like, what'd you do? I said, I got one up in there. He's like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, it's happening.
Had a swimmer.
He's like, awesome. I said, guess when it's due? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah.
So you'll be at the point soon. We'll be able to go grab your live scope and scan her belly and see the little guy.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Huh? I got some forward-facing sonar for her.
There you go.
Jeez.
All right.
So in the stocking, if I could get one thing in my stocking. Oh, one thing?
Yeah, one thing. Well, I don't care. I'd pick 2 or 3. I don't care. It depends on how much your wife likes you.
I don't even know. I never asked for anything for Christmas. I'm not that
I'm
guy.
the same, man. If I want something, I just get it during the year. I don't. When a guy says he doesn't want nothing for Christmas,
Come on, guys. This is on the topic sheet. You guys are supposed to have answers. I don't need answers because nobody asks me any questions ever because no one cares. But you guys are supposed to have answers.
What do I want for Christmas? I really don't. I don't really want for nothing. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't ever
You know what?
want
I'm going
nothing.
away for
Peace on
holidays.
earth.
I
Really?
want to have
Goodwill?
great weather when I go down.
Peace
I want
and
everybody
goodwill.
to-
Paul, we can't put weather in a stocking. There's got to be a bait out there or something you want to try.
I would like bigger unit.
A bigger unit, bigger
Yeah.
draft.
Don't all guys want to take the unit?
He said it.
Are you still using?
talking fishing
I've
Renee?
seen it.
Are you still using?
I can tell you, he can use a bigger
You're still
unit.
using the 4-inch
Yeah.
Echo Mount.
Mine's a 9. Mine's a 9.
All right, how about you guys?
I'm lucky. I've got pretty much every fishing tool available to mankind through partnerships with sponsors and great companies I work with. But one thing that I would like in my stocking would probably be a fishing tour with the greatest angler of all time, the GOAT.
Oh my gosh. I can make that happen. I
There
can
you
make
go.
that happen, buddy.
He knows a guy.
We fished a tournament once. We had a
Yeah,
blast.
well, that was a
got
blast.
third
We gotta
or
do
fourth.
that again.
Yeah, we got like 3rd or 4th.
We
too.
can double up in that
I even
kayak
caught
of
some
yours.
fish weekend. I remember Corey pulling up to us. Like I was in the boat with Wanger and Corey Johnson's like, "Hey Kyle, what happened? The canoe break down?" I was just laughing so hard. How about you, Mike?
You know what? I started using a lot more swim baits
Yep.
the past year. I'd like to maybe get a stocking full of them to play around with them. I had some clients out and we were muskie fishing, and I'll even tell you where we were. We're actually right in Harrington's Narrows,
Well, I'll just follow you around.
Yeah.
It don't matter. You're
Yeah.
on my lake.
and it's your lake now. And the girl that was using one of these big swim baits actually caught like a 7-pound walleye on it.
Really?
Yeah. And we had a couple of muskie follow it, and unfortunately both of them broke off the swim baits that are now sitting down in the bottom of the lake, which, you know, they're not cheap. But anyways, I would like to really get some swim baits and start using them more. I think they're an underutilized tool here. There are lots of guys using them, but generally speaking, I don't think there's a lot of guys that throw them. And from what I've seen so far, using them myself, they're
a big fish bait.
yes,
I want to
they
try
are.
those Demikis down on Stoney and put that back in the repertoire down there, maybe.
Yep.
Demiki rigs. We got the the Schmeltonator jig heads from Brian Gustafson up there at Lake of the Woods.
That was a big secret that came out of the bag, wasn't it?
Those guys, and that goes to show like different techniques are like work in places that no one's even used them, and then it's also like old techniques are coming back.
I imagine you would have fished those a lot down on Hartwell.
I was smashing them on them the first couple days of pre-fish, and the last day couldn't catch a thing on it. Throughout the tournament, didn't get a thing on it.
Wow.
But they were really on them in the first couple days. I don't know if it was a weather change or just something different.
Yeah, because you guys had some crazy weather down there,
we
right?
did.
Oh, it rained and got cold.
Yeah.
They weren't biting the shaky heads or the drop shots the first couple days. They were on that Smeltonator. My partner was getting bit, and then it totally flip-flopped. He started getting bit in shaky heads and drop shots, so we switched over to that.
Yeah, so they changed in the water column, right?
Yeah.
Underspins used to be a big deal down there too on Hartwell, eh?
I was throwing those too big time down
Yeah.
there and couldn't get bit on that. I actually got bit on some of Vic's baits he made up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to check those out if you're into some pro water baits.
So
That's what you need to ask for in your stocking is some of the Hoyas and some of the new baits Vic has coming out.
he's got a big booth coming to the show.
They are amazing baits. Check out Pro Water Baits if you're around.
Yeah, Pro Water's gonna have a big booth at the show. CanCast April 2nd.
I got a bunch of pro water baits.
Yeah, so do I. You know what I want? I want your guys' waypoints, especially yours on Stony. Got a big event coming. No, just kidding.
Done.
Kidding. I want tickets to skip the line at CanCast.
Oh, really?
Thinking about maybe like a couple weeks before the show, we do a special skip the line big contest for like 10 people.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be yet, but speaking of that, we have to give away a Daiwa cooler. And I just tapped this by mistake. We're going to retap it if I'm allowed. I've just found this app. So you're my witness. All these names, everybody that asked questions last week is all in here. You guys,
You're the worst
guess you
tapper.
I just tapped. Look whose name I pulled. We're going to tap it again.
Oh, come on.
I'll hook him up anyways.
Okay, all
We're
right,
good.
all
All right. All right, how do we work this? You're my witness too. All these names are on the wheel. You see all the
Oh, it's
names?
like a wheel of
there?
fortune.
Yeah. So we're going to press it. So
You have
whoever
to
this
give a letter?
whoever this is,
It's N.
I'm going to mail you the cooler. All right. Or you can pick it up at my house if you're close. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. I'm spinning. And the winner is... No way. It landed on him again.
Awesome.
Vic Morris.
Victor Morris. Pro Water Beat.
there
Pro
you
Water
go.
Beat.
Vic
Pro Water
Morris.
Beat.
Hey,
That's
he's
awesome.
not a Daiwa guy. He fishes a lot of it, but he can win that cooler. He's qualified.
Yeah.
Good for him. Well, I guess I'll be going to the bait bunker this week.
Right on.
Dropping that off.
Make
But-
a trade.
Yeah, no, seriously. Well, I always walk out of there stuff. Vic's awesome. And he's one of those guys who's just like, he loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, check out this mold. Look what he's
passionate.
building. And the colors. Like, he's into it.
And you throw ideas to him, and he'll pick them up. And,
100%.
And totally make you
Yeah.
something that custom that you want.
Yeah.
Like he sent us down to Hartwell with
Loaded.
blueback herring,
Yep.
colors and baits, and he's got a new bait out there. It's coming out this spring. It's dropping at the show. You'll have to check that out. I watched it in action up on Potash Lake, and he was cranking them with it.
Really?
Potash.
Hey,
Well-
what do you think? Just one quick question for you, from a guide to another guide. What would you say is your number one go-to bait in the last couple of years when the fishing gets tough?
With regards to guiding,
Yeah.
it's mainly the staple is the Senko. With people, you cast it out and it does.
Yeah,
its
it's
thing,
the
right?
easiest bait to catch
So
fish on.
simple, right? But
No offense to the dinger king.
what we've used a lot lately is the like a fat Icus towel bait, and that's kind of what the Hoya is based off of from the Pro Water baits. It's just a little bit smaller, but it's like a hard body tube bait with the tentacles coming off it, and you throw it on a 3 or 4 hook and just kind of let it sink and do its thing. That sinking, slow falling action seems to be work when the fishing's hot, and it works when the fishing's not too. So yeah, those are a couple of staples that I've used. But when I first started out and that kind of stuff wasn't around, used a lot of weedless weighted tubes, skipping tubes kind of thing, and just throw those around. We've gone away from them. I imagine they're still cranking on them, but
Yeah.
Like that's just the evolution of fishing and the confidence. Like fishing as a guide, you have to have confidence in what you're providing these clients on and what they're going to catch.
And something for ease of use as well. I mean, the last thing I would do is put a novice angler on a
Fishing a
jerk
jig.
bait, or
flipping a jig.
But
Yeah.
for me, my experience the past couple of years, when the fishing gets tough for me, for my clients, spy baits. I think they are.
Yeah, we did that a couple years ago. Too.
I think they are.
That's one thing I
just
don't
slow roll it.
Oh
Like,
my
I had a
gosh.
client. I give him one. Like he was smashing them all day. He was like, "Yeah, I have these, but I've never caught them
Yeah,
with this before."
it's amazing.
And then catches a 5.5 pounder on it.
You just gotta make. It's just they're so boring to fish.
And then the next day he sends me a picture. He's got a 3.5 pound smallie and a walleye on the same bait.
Really?
At the same time.
Wow.
That's wild. That's
Like,
that's
oh
a
my
good
God,
one.
that's
They
pretty
they,
big.
they are crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
Well, guys, I had a blast.
Oh, me too.
I had an absolute blast tonight. I wish we could do this for 4 hours.
Merry
but,
Christmas,
we gotta end
everyone.
this. But
Yeah.
before we let you guys go, big thanks to both of you guys for coming down.
Thank you.
Any final
Yeah.
thoughts?
You know what? Looking forward to when the podcast comes out, and just wishing everybody that watches it a Merry Christmas. And if you want to get out on the water, give Mike Williams or myself a call, and we'll be happy to hook you up.
And we'll put your guys' websites and stuff here at the bottom
Beautiful.
of the screen.
And thanks to Shawn for the show all night.
Yeah.
I told you.
Good.
I told you
Good.
he's the sexiest.
How about you two over there?
I didn't lie.
Any final thoughts over there?
Just Merry Christmas to everybody. Go out your drinking and driving. Just don't do it. Call a cab, whatever.
Yep.
Everybody get home safe. Love to see you all next spring.
Got to be at the show.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody, and don't tell my wife that you know she's pregnant.
No doubt. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you from the whole CanCast crew. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas from all of us. A big thanks to Woody behind the screen here working all the magic for us. Somebody please get me a bigger hat for next time. Like literally my head might explode.
You're wearing it all night.
And you know what? I appreciate everything. I appreciate all the sponsors, all the vendors that are coming to the show. We're going to be releasing just so many details in the new year because it's like literally January 1st. It's 3 months till go time.
Right.
Ekbat's coming to the show too.
So
Set up a
good.
booth. Come
Fun.
and check the
Boom.
Canadian Bass Station.
awesome. So like it's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I can't wait to see everybody there. Thank you. Good night and Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Take off, you hosers.